Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first intermediate grade. Our textbook is Super Goal 2 and today we will cover what did you do last week. Listen and discuss and pair work. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazara Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Salih Al-Ajan. So let's begin. Our objectives in today's lesson, we hope that at the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe past activities and state leisure activities, entertainment, and course. So before we do this, let me talk to you about the things that I did last week. For example, last week I went to work and I taught my student about some English vocabularies, and also I drove to the shopping mall. I also bought a lot of clothes that I need, and also I watched a lot of football games last week. So now, what about you? Can you tell me what did you do last week? What are the activities that you do last week? And when I say activities, I mean sport activities, like playing games and walking or jogging maybe, or riding or cycling, riding a motorcycle or cycling. So these activities, or the other activities, mental activities. For example, you do a math equation, you answer math equations, or you memorize the words, or for example, you did your homework. So can you tell me what did you do last week? Because in a few minutes, we're going to learn about different people talking about different things that they have done in the last week. So now, before I would like you please to open your books on page 64. I would like you please to open your books on page 64. On page 64, I would like you to have a look at these pictures you have in front of you. I would like you to have a look at the pictures you have in front of you, page 64 and page 65, and tell me what places and activities do you see in the pictures. So you can see a lot of activities, a lot of pictures. So could you list them? Could you tell me what are these? Let me help you here. So we can see a lot of activities and places. Like, for example, a car race. We can see also a beach. We can see also one of the activities, which is watching TV and visiting a museum and taking photos. And we can see a closet, a ball, and a book for reading, and playing video games, and parrots, and visiting the zoo, and also a cell phone, and speaking with friends, and playing football and beach volleyball. So these are the activities that you can see from these pictures. And you can also, when you look deep, you can have more of these activities. So the other question is, did you do any of these things last week? Did you do any of these activities, or did you visit any of these places last week? For example, did you went to a car race, or did you go to a beach, or watch TV, or even visiting a museum, or you took photos maybe with your phone, or maybe you read a book, or you played the video game, or maybe visiting the zoo and you spoke with your friends and playing football. So did you do any of these activities? Let me know about these activities, as we're going to refer to it in the text later on. So thinking about these activities, thinking about these places that you can think of, now let's read about different students talking about what are the things that they did last week. What we're going to do here is that we're going to read their text twice. The first time you only listen to them while they speak, and the second time you try to elicit some information so you can use when you talk about yourself or the activities that you do. So now I'm going to read them. After this, for the second time, we'll read them together while I follow, and also we'll try to elicit some of the information and explain some of the words. So let's begin with Omar. Omar said, "We had a great time on Saturday. We went to a friend's house and played video games on his console and watched a car race. Then we went to the zoo." This is for Omar. Now let's listen to Ahmed. Ahmed said, "This was a good week. I presented my project in class and everyone liked it. On Thursday afternoon, I played football with friends and I bought a new smartphone." Let's continue with Saeed. On the other page, Saeed said, "Well, on Thursday afternoon, I went to the art museum, and on Saturday morning, my brothers and I drove to the beach to play beach volleyball. Then we ate lunch at a restaurant, so I was out a lot. Did you go out, Imad?" Imad said, "No, I stayed home, studied for the science test, and cleaned out my closet. I also spent some time searching for information on the internet. I needed to finish my assignment for today." So now we're going to read the text of these students. After this, we can explain some of the words that were mentioned. So again, starting with Omar. Omar said, "We had a great time on Saturday. We went to a friend's house and played video games on his console and watched a car race. Then we went to the zoo." So Omar here talk about how was his time on Saturday. He did a lot of things. The first one that he went to his friend's house and he played video game, and also he watched a car race, and then he went to the zoo. So there is more than one activity for Umar on Saturday. Let's see about what Ahmed did. "This was a good week. I presented my project in class and everyone liked it. On Thursday afternoon, I played football with friends and I bought a new smartphone." So Ahmed said not only about the day or Saturday, he's talking about his whole week. He said, "In this week, I presented the project, and on Thursday, I played football with friends, and not only this, he also bought a new smartphone." So you see, in these two examples, there are more than one activity they have done. And also, Saeed said, "Well, on Thursday afternoon, I went to the art museum, and on Saturday morning, my brothers and I drove to the beach to play beach volleyball. Then we ate lunch at a restaurant, so I was out a lot. Did you go out, Imad?" So Said talking about only the Thursday morning, and he said, "I went to the museum, and on the Saturday morning, they drove to the beach to play beach volleyball, and then they ate lunch at a restaurant." So there are a lot of activities for Said. So Said ended his text by asking Imad, "Did you go out?" Let's see what Imad has to say. Imad said, "No, I stayed home, studied for the science test, and cleaned out my closet. I also spent some time searching for information on the internet. I needed to finish my assignment for today." So Imad obviously didn't go out, he stayed home, but even when he stayed home, he did a lot of activities. One of them is that he studied first for the science test and cleaned the closet, 2 activities, and also search for information and finish his assignment. So Imad, even when he stayed home, he did 4 activities at home. So think now of the previous question when I say, what did you do last week? Did you do any of these activities or similar activities? Just think about them. So now let me ask you about I'm going to write a couple of questions about the activities, and you tell me the person who has done this activity. So let's start with the first one. So, who went to the zoo? So between Ahmed and between Umar and between Imad and between Saeed, who went to the zoo? Try to think and tell me who went to the zoo. Excellent. The answer is Umar. Umar went to the zoo. Let's move on to the other question. Who went to the beach? Who went to the beach? So among, again, Ahmed and Umar and Imad and Saeed, who went to the beach and play beach volleyball? Excellent. It is Saeed. And next, who went to an art museum? Who went to an art museum? Imad, Umar, Ahmed, or Saeed? Very good. The answer is Saeed. And the last question is, who cleaned his closet? Who stayed home and to finish his assignment and at the same time cleaned the closet? Is it Imad, Ahmed, Saeed, or Umar? Very good. The answer is Imad. So those are the people who has done these activities, and you can have a similar questions when you talk to your friends about the activities that you do, and then you can ask them about this question. For example, when you listen to a lot of activities, you can ask them, okay, who did that, who did this, and so on. And you'll see an interesting conversation will go between you and your friends. And now, let's move on to the quick check. Here, the first exercise we have, a vocabulary exercise. What I need you to do now is to read the explanations, write a word from the descriptions. So here what I need you to do is to read these explanations and find out or write down a word that describe this whole description. So let's start with the first one. What do we call a competition with cars? So if we have a competitions and that need to have cars, what do we call that kind of competition? Very good. It is, we call it car race. So car race describe this explanation. This is the description of this explanation. So it's very, this is how we are going to answer this question. So number 2, equipment for video games. Equipment for video games. So in this text, we have read about one equipment that used for video games. Do you know what that equipment is? Very good. It is a console. It means the controller that we use it when we play video games. Let's move on to number 3. A high-tech phone. A high-tech phone. It means it's not regular phone. It is a high-tech that has a lot of technology and that is very advanced. So high-tech phone. So in this in the beginning of this lesson, we have read about a word that describe or similar to describe this explanation, a high-tech phone. Do you remember what that word is? Very good. The word is smartphone. And the last one, looking for. So there is a verb that we mentioned that matches this explanation, looking for. So what is that word that match this explanation, looking for? Let's see here now. It is searching. You remember when Imad talked about he is searching on the internet? What do you mean by searching? It means that he is looking for something. It means that he is looking for something in the internet, information or any kind of information that could help him in his assignment or to study more for his test. So now, B. Here we have a comprehension questions to answer yes or no. So here I have statements, and what I need you to do is whether to agree with these statements by writing yes or to disagree by writing no, and also adding the correct statement or the correct sentence. So let's begin with the first one. Number one, Umar stayed at home on Saturday. Umar stayed at home on Saturday. So what do you think? Do you agree with this sentence? We should write yes. Or you don't agree and we should write no. Very good. Here the answer is no. But let me ask you, there is someone who stayed at home from these four people we have read about. So do you remember what's his name? Very good. His name is, he went to his friend's house, and the one who stayed at home, his name is Imad. So Umar did not stay at home. He went to a friend's house, and Imad, he is the one who stayed at home. So let's start with number two. Ahmed was pleased with his presentation. Ahmed was pleased. He was happy with his presentation. So what do you think of this? Do you agree with this sentence or no? Excellent. Yes, Ahmed said that I presented the presentation and the class liked it. So it means that he is happy about it. And number three, Saeed and his brothers drove to the museum. Saeed and his brothers drove to the museum. What do you think of this? We of course know that someone from these four people that we have read about went to the museum. So was this someone, Saeed and his brother, or not? Excellent. The answer is no. So what did Saeed do? Saeed and his brother drove to the beach to play beach volleyball. And the last one, Imad needed to finish his assignment for school. Do you agree with this sentence? That Imad needed to stay at home and finish the assignment. Do you agree with this? Of course, Imad, he is the only one who stayed at home and did not go out and do any of the activities that were mentioned here. So here you go. These are the answers of these questions. So the first one is no. Umar went to a friend's house. The second, yes, Ahmed was pleased. And number three, no, Saeed drove to the beach, not to the museum. And yes, Imad stayed at home to finish the assignment. And now, let's move on to the pair work. Here, I would like you to learn how to ask and answer questions about the teens. So, let's say here, the first one, did Saeed go to school on Thursday afternoon? So, when you have a look at the text that we have read about, you can answer whether yes or no. So, in our case here, no, he didn't. He went to the art museum. And did Imad stay home on Saturday? The answer, of course, is yes, he did. So you can make a similar question to this. Go back and read those sentences, and you can ask your classmates a similar question to this about either Imad or Ahmed or Saeed or even Umar. And also you can ask and answer questions about yourself or the person in front of you. You can ask him questions like, did you have a test yesterday? Or you can ask him a question like, what did you do yesterday afternoon? And of course, the answer will vary. So you'll notice the different answers. So try to choose a classmate or a friend of yours and ask him these similar questions. It's good because it helps you to practice English as you already have the format of the question. So you only have to add, you don't have to add anything as long as you have this format here. So you can ask him, did you have a test? Did you went to the zoo? Did you go to the zoo? Did you visit a museum? Did you play volleyball? Or a lot of activities from the activities that we have read about here. You can ask your friend or the person in front of you. And also you can ask him about time. So for example, what did you do yesterday afternoon? So he can come up with the kind of activities that he has done. Not only yesterday, you can ask him this afternoon or last week on, and you choose the day on Saturday or Thursday and so on. And don't forget, before we finish, you need to check on page 119 as we go. You're going to see more practices with the past activities. And now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.